Bob?
Here.
Noel?
Here.
Blakeman?
Here.
Willard?
Here.
Hudson?
Here. You'll receive the meeting minutes from December 3rd. Any comments or questions on those? Hearing none, you'll stand as presented. Receive the park board meeting minutes from November 25th, as well as the planning commission meeting minutes for December 10th. Any comments on those? Mary Ann, if you want to come up, co-chair for the wine festival for 2020, here to discuss the details of the event.
Well, first of all, thank you all for giving me a moment of your time. And while everybody's in one room together, I just want to say, having moved back to town a couple of years ago and growing up here, it's great to see Columbiana thriving the way it is. And that's in large part because of everybody in this room and all the different organizations in town working together. So along those lines, we're very grateful at the Tourism Bureau for the council, the police department, the city, everybody working together to not only make Joy of Christmas a huge success, because it truly does take a village, but Wine Fest. And so on to 2020, we thank you for your support. We hope you will support us again this year, coming up. And we are once again holding Columbiana Wine Fest out at Firestone Farms Town Center, thanks to the generosity of Tom Maple and his team out there. And there are several changes. So this year we'll be holding it on one day only, and that is from 5 to 10 p.m. on Saturday, October 3rd. So, and the result, that change is a result of 6 years of variable weather conditions. So we decided to move to a different time of year. And that's really it. So we hope that you guys will come out and support us and continue to work with the Tourism Bureau to make magic happen and make this place in America.
What was the time again?
5 to 10 p.m.
Well, the only requirement would be they require in city services like police service.
We will work with the chief to get a signature on the F4 permit, but especially now that it's one day only, we will not need security overnight this year, or next year.
So there's really nothing for us to approve on that. But
we'd like to come and thank you guys and welcome you into the little Wine Fest family.
Yeah, it's always nice to be informed, and of course now we'll probably be there in the newspaper.
Yay! My word here is a marketing person.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, and I can say that for those of you that have been out there, when there's 3,000 people there for Beatlemania.
Oh.
I mean, Brian and I are talking on the phone, like, what are we going to do about traffic? And it just went, it dissipated really quick. So if they had that problem, that'll be great. If we have 1,000 cars there at once.
Well, last year we had 17,200 engagements, and we had 2,000 people on social media respond, but we also had 110 feels like temperatures. So
Yeah. It was hot.
It was rough.
Wine and 110.
But Tom did have his super soakers there, so.
You have a beer and wine festival.
There we go.
Slow transition.
On to the manager report.
Okay. Failed to mention Larry Weber and the help from East Fairfield Church for the Joy of Christmas. Without them, I mean, that could not be done. Also the city staff, but I mean, I don't know if you've been down East Park Avenue this last few nights of it being open, but it's a really, I know it's a little bit of a pain for traffic, but man, how proud does that make you? Friday night we come through and they were lined clear up to, almost clear up to Elm Street, and last night or Saturday night it was just as packed. So I'm guessing that you guys are going to have a record year, and it's a great job, and it looks really nice. Okay, so since our last meeting, I did get a letter from Ohio EMA, and we need to have paperwork back to them by January 3rd. So we did put corresponding emergency resolution on the agenda. The negotiating committee for the CRA, they're starting to process 2 applications, so you may see me at the school board in next month or so. That was the Tucker Coat project and the AVL wholesalers. They're recommending maximum CRA on both those projects. We just did that last week. I'll be attending a monthly meeting now called the Hub, and that is to ensure that the Columbiana Chamber of Commerce, Tourism, and the city all continue to work together. Mary Ann just kind of mentioned it, you know, the working together, collaboration, communication. So that meeting is just the 3 of them right now, and then we have a topic that maybe we need to bring in Friday 1st, we will, or, you know, anybody else. So it's good. I think that it's important for us not to be working parallel, especially in marketing, and hopefully that'll fix some of that. So tomorrow, Progress Committee meeting will be touring our business in Akron. That's that We Workspace, shared workspace, and we're going to try to see if that can be brought into downtown. If you were in City Hall the last week or so, we did some upgrades in the women's restroom and the lunchroom. Looks really nice. Had some city staff help and also a contractor. Street department working on trucks for snow removal, performed leaf pickup. Lots of other departments help. We appreciate that. Water department, 42 locates, 2 hydrants, 3 valve replacements. The warranty on the old plant is up, so we're working on the line feeder repair. Had to order some parts, service the pump, and we did set the generator at wells 3 and 4, so we're excited about that. Wastewater, we sent out 2 pumps for repair, and a couple of departments helped unload the reeds for veterans. I guess that was a truck that was packed full of them, so you guys did a great job on that. Park and Cemetery, they worked on Christmas light displays, and they worked on leaf pickup and the wreaths for veterans. Electric department, they worked with the chief. They turned on that new repeater for the police department. So out at 7 and 14, if we're out there on an accident or something, they can actually be out of the vehicles and use their portables now to contact dispatch. We continue to work with Ohio Edison. I don't know if you've seen any of those big poles being placed. They're massive, unique. I think our not having to collaborate with them much or in the next month. I think we're about done. We did order those new lights for South Main Street, which we put in when we take the other ones down, and those will be up all year long. AMP sent some staff up and met with us about the future of our utility. We discussed electric charging stations, so like somebody that has a Tesla or somebody that has an electric charging car, they can bring it into town. And we hopefully, that's one of our goals for 2020.
That'd be awesome. I just was looking yesterday, there is none. The closest one's in Hermitage.
Yeah. So when they came, they brought this map, and I think it'll be a kind of a destination for them to do that. So we hope to have a Type 2 charging station, which takes a couple hours, so people would come down. I picture it right now at the AAA parking lot. We own that transformer right there. We have power. We take the first couple and put those charging stations in, and I'll be in touch with you on that.
You have to plan to have 2 stations?
So when you order one, you get 2. You get 2 plugs. So we'll probably put in one. And I'd like to put one in, work with Town Center to maybe put one out there in your homestead. Maybe this first couple parking spots out there. I think it would fit in real well out there.
Hard to believe Hermitage has.
There's one in Erie. I just looked last night. I was looking at them, and the the way that they give you an app on that car that shows you anywhere you're driving, where they're at, and it helps you, direct your path so that you're always within the distance of a charging station. So, I mean, there's none from, I think there's 5 or 6 in Cleveland, and then as you start coming down, there's nothing. There's none in, Boardman. I think there was, the closest one was, I think was Hermitage. It would be, anyone that's driving this whole area would have to, like, get off the turnpike or whatever, would be able to get charged.
Yeah. So, something, you learn something every day, but Tesla has their own charging stations, which we're gonna try to apply for one of those. They have a grant thing, they're like $50,000, but, you can't charge other cars on theirs. So, this one would be universal. You can charge all electric cars, including Teslas. So, we're still talking about the thermostats for the residents that we can kind of have control in under those, summer months, for, peak shaving, for the residential. So we're looking into that program. Smart electric meters, which were mentioned tonight, basically, in the future, we don't know if it's going to be 3 or 5 years, you'll be able to get on your phone and look to see what electric you're using real time within 3-4 minutes. We already have some of those for our larger customers, but they also rolled out some new free economic development tools, which we'll definitely be using. Free online resources for operations. So we'll keep looking at that. But I guess we got to take them on a tour of the town. They really liked it, and they were very impressed with the water plant and town center and our downtown, and they just loved everything. So I'm always talking about working here. It's great, especially in an emergency. You can see people coming together, different departments working together, and I'd like to thank Doug Sturgeon and Chief for their quick reaction to the car versus electric pole last week. I'm going to send a picture around, and just really appreciate the incident command that was procedure that was set up, and I'd like Chief Gladys to go over that a little bit, and we really appreciate it. So.
I appreciate it. Those of you that looked at our Facebook page probably saw the technical description of what happened there, but I want to talk a little bit. Lance had mentioned it to me, we discussed it. Call came in about 3 o'clock. There was a truck versus pole crash on North Main. We heard that there were live wires down and sparking, which is always bad news, especially on a day like that with pouring down rain, because water does conduct electricity, and you can be a ways off from the live wires, don't get hurt or killed. We went down there. I was first on the scene, closely fired, followed by Kevin Kloss and Bill Myers from the police department. We conferred for a minute, and this was a big problem. We didn't know what we had at that point in time, so we put them to blocking off the roads, and the incident command system kind of happens naturally because of the way we've been trained. There's no discussion about let's implement it, it just happens. We began that process and blocked that street off. I talked to the driver. He was about a block away because he was pretty well shook up and afraid, having seen those wires come down. Probably was a bad idea to get out of the truck in the first place, because if the wire was on the truck or on the ground, he'd have been dead. But it worked out that it snapped across the road, and he escaped without injury. I talked to the driver and did that. Then I issued orders to dispatch to the fire department to come down, help us with traffic, EMS to look at the driver, and stand by for us if we would get injured on scene, and for Doug and the electric crew to get down there as soon as possible to make that scene safe, because we couldn't do anything, literally nothing, until that scene was safe. So Assistant Chief Jim Douglas arrived with 2 engines from the fire department, immediately blocked off the road. That transition from incident command, what we call unified command, where I was in charge as I was the first one there. When Jim got there, now we have 2 department heads that have differing expertise, and we collaborate. We did that and decided that we were going to need to reroute traffic. There was no way around it. That brought you a 3rd person in, which was was Kurt Sechrist in this case, because Jesse was off. Kurt was at quitting time, but he still went out and put up detour signs, barricades, and all that, so we could reroute traffic out 14 to Red Path or Old 14 and back up to Salem Street to stay out of the area. By that time, Doug was on scene. Now we have 4 people in Unified Command, all collaborating. Doug told us that wire's live. Keep everybody out of here. We shut everything down and evacuated everybody that was standing around, got them out of there. Doug told me that was going to be an hours-long process. We've seen the picture. The pole was dangerously damaged, so we had to have Doug come down and take his grappling hook, hold that pole up. And when we did all that, Doug finally cut the power. Unintended consequences, the lights, traffic signals went out on 14 up there at 164 and 46, the busiest time of day. That's a problem, ladies and gentlemen. So I went up there and tried to handle that. We were able to get the wrecker and pull that truck out of there. All this stuff happened in less time than I'm talking to you about it, about 5 minutes. We were there about an hour. We finally had traffic rerouted. Things were running smoothly, and we took a deep breath, and we began to start thinking about what we were going to do here. About that time, we know that the fire came on and off a few times and starting to aggravate some citizens, but that happens when you have that. It's just a matter of them taking the pole out of the ground, transferring the wires, putting a new pole in the ground. Our afternoon turn came, relieved the firemen, and the policemen who were directing traffic all day in the rain. And then our auxiliary came out and relieved the final guys. I can tell you that we started this at 3 o'clock. They finally wrapped it up sometime after 11 o'clock that night. And we had that traffic diverted and the road closed for that whole time. So even though nobody got hurt, and that looks a lot worse than it is, the point I'm making here, and the point that I think Lance gets to, is the incident command system and the unified command system, it doesn't work unless everybody's trained and on board. All of our people have intertrained, interdisciplinary, with the electric crew and all that stuff that we do over the years. We all know what each other does, and it happens automatically. It was a pleasure to go out there and see that happen automatically without having to argue and fuss and fight and try to make noise and figure out what we were going to do. We just knew when everybody did their piece. It just, I like my favorite word, it interdigitated. Interdigitated. And it worked just perfectly. And we got that thing done. When something interdigitates, you know you've done something right. I appreciate all the support from this council, from Lance, for the training and the money to send us away to do that sometimes. I appreciate all the other department heads that didn't even hesitate. I told Kurt Sechrist, I ran through this complicated scenario. He says, I got it, I'm on it. And if you don't need me to know, I got it, I'm on it. And you didn't have to repeat it, you just knew. So that's what working together with a high-class crew of very competent people will get you. And I just want to share that with you. I think it's
And thanks, Chief. And I do want to point out, I mean, I learned something, and I know, you know, we do bucket safety, rescue. So, you know, all of our staff, like you said, you know, they're trained. And I feel bad that I mean, I feel ignorant that I didn't know this, but, you know, if you hit a pole like that, you know, you see a wire down, it doesn't mean, if just because the wire is 40 feet over there, doesn't mean you're not going to get electrocuted.
Yeah, you get your way.
So what happens is, if you know, you just have to stay in the car. That guy could have been electrocuted right now as soon as he stepped out. Luckily he didn't. But if one of our workers are put into a place that they have to walk through that, you have to shuffle your feet. You don't pick them up, and you just shuffle your feet until you're out of this zone of influence. So there's these rings, you know, electric is in sinusoidal, so it goes like this. And there's, if you could see it, there's this ring around that whole accident, right where that wire went down. So if you step, you know, if you step 3-4 foot apart and you go to ground, you're going to die. But if you shuffle your feet through that, I mean, that's, you really don't want to be shuffling your feet. You don't want to be anywhere around it. But, and I know it would be hard to be saying shuffle feet, you remember? Serpentine. But it's just very sobering because, you know, as close as I am to electric, I didn't realize that. I mean, if the wire's not hitting my car, I'm getting out, you know, but that's not the case. Wire could be down clear over there, you still get shot clear over here. Pretty neat. And the other thing is, we just put that loop on Heck Road all the way out to 7. And we did it for a day like this. because we only had one electric pole prior to this going out, in front of the Legion, right? Feeding all, you know, the Firestone developed and everything. And we were like a balloon on a string out there, and we said, well, hey, we gotta do this loop, for something exactly like this. Because if this guy, I mean, I still can't figure out how he hit it. I mean, I don't
I
understand.
can tell you that if you want.
Okay.
Not seriously, like tell you, he did it because he didn't want to rear end it. He applied brakes and he slid on the wet pavement. He said, I had a choice to hit that car or sling it off the road. I slung it off the road. Unfortunately for him, in the path of travel was a pole, but he didn't want to hit the car full of people. He wanted to sling it off the road. That was a really heads up play. He just didn't want to hurt anybody. He still got a ticket.
Yeah.
It is what it is, but that's why.
All right, well, that's all I have for my report. Thank you, Chief.
Thank you for your time.
You received the bill list for December 17th. Any comments on it? No, we'll move into old business. Due to the length of the ordinances, may I have a motion to read them by title only, as well as read B under new business as an emergency?
Second.
A roll call?
Becker?
Yes.
Souter?
Yes.
McBain?
Yes.
Liston?
Yes.
Bug?
Yes.
Noel?
Yes.
Ordinance number 19-0-3021, second reading. An ordinance amending certain conditions, setting a salary, and establishing a position of employment for the city manager of the city of Columbiana.
Second.
Comments? Roll call?
Souter?
Yes.
McBain?
Yes.
Liston?
Yes.
Bug?
Yes.
Noel?
Yes.
Becker?
Yes.
Ordinance number 19-0-3022, second reading. An ordinance authorizing the city manager to enter into a contract with United Healthcare for the purpose of providing health insurance benefits for the full-time employees of the city of Columbiana.
So moved.
Second.
The roll call?
McBain?
Yes.
Liston?
Yes.
Bug?
Yes.
Noel?
Yes.
Becker?
Yes.
Souter?
Yes.
Ordinance number 19-0-3023, second reading. An ordinance establishing dates of regularly scheduled council meetings and meetings of boards and commissions for the calendar year 2020, and directing the publishing and posting of this ordinance.
Second.
Any comments? Roll call?
Liston?
Yes.
Bug?
Yes.
Noel?
Yes.
Becker?
Yes.
Souter?
Yes.
McBain?
Yes.
Ordinance number 19-0-3024, second reading. An ordinance amending appropriation ordinance 19-0-2998 by adding $163,000 in the general fund, $2,000 in the cemetery fund, $14,000 in the park fund, $11,500 in the police pension fund, $46,000 in the street fund, $7,000 in the emergency medical services fund, $30,000 in the sewer fund, $30,000 in the electric fund, $100,000 in the income tax fund, $3,000 in the fire fund, $450 in the enforcement and education fund, $500 in the bond retirement, and $1,300 in the unclaimed money fund, all for the payment of current expenses as they may arise.
Second.
Comments? Roll call?
Bug?
Yes.
Noel?
Yes.
Becker?
Yes.
Souter?
Yes.
McBain?
Yes.
Liston?
Yes.
Ordinance number 19-0-3025, second reading. An ordinance to make temporary appropriations for current expenses and other expenditures of the city of Columbiana, state of Ohio, for the first 3 months of the year 2020, ending March 31st, 2020.
So moved. Second.
call.
Noel,
Yes.
Becker,
Yes.
Souter,
Yes.
McBain,
Yes.
Liston,
Yes.
Bott,
Yes.
I need a motion to appoint 2 council members to the Volunteer Firefighters Dependent Fund Board.
Who's on it right now?
That's your pleasure.
Make a motion to, thank you very much. Make a motion to keep the 2 guys that are on it.
Second.
Any comments? Roll call.
Becker,
Abstain?
Souter,
Abstain.
McBain,
Yes.
Liston,
Yes.
Bott,
Yes.
Noel,
Yes.
Resolution number 19-R-548, emergency. An emergency resolution authorizing the city manager to execute and file all necessary information and documentation and act as the authorizing agent relative to the hazard mitigation grant program for FEMA.
So moved.
Second.
Any comments? Roll call.
Just one comment, I think it's just for information for the audience and everybody else here, it's absolutely necessary to do this as an emergency because of the request that came from the state on, granting the funds and everything, so we have no choice but to do this as an emergency.
I think they want it by like the first week of January.
Yeah.
And they just sent it to us.
Yeah. And, we were just awarded it, so, but, well, you know, said we'd gladly do it. So,
Is that roll call?
Souter,
Yes.
McBain,
Yes.
Liston,
Yes.
Bott,
Yes.
Noel,
Yes.
Becker,
Yes.
Is there any action after the executive session?
no.
Council comment?
I'd just like to thank the city and other participants, everybody that came out to place the wreaths on the tombs for the soldiers. It was, well, first off, the service itself was moving, I mean, it really was. But to see all those people out there working together, placing those wreaths, it really made me proud.
You run very efficiently too. I was not sure what to expect when we got out there, and there really wasn't much, effort on our part as participants. The crew that put it together really, Sherry and her group.
Sherry Norquist and Dick Howe, first vice, the Post 290, played a large part in that. I think they had more than 10,000 steps, you know, they probably quadruple that. But the other thing is, for the fire department to be able to store the wreaths, because they came in on that Monday before, and they say that the fire station now has an aroma of pine. They could bring that back again. But one of the people I really want to bring up is Frank Knoll. It was a soak and wet ordeal well before, you know, we hit that 11 o'clock hour, and he was on top of that trailer handing out things. And it's good to be able to do that. I'm figuring probably 200 to 300 people skip.
At least, they placed 1,000 wreaths. We had 954 plots. And I think they ended up actually placing over 1,000, or around 1,000 wreaths. And the ceremony started at noon. That probably lasted 10 minutes. And by 12:30, we couldn't find any place to put a wreath. So that's how many people were out there. We placed that many in probably 20 minutes. So it was unbelievable.
There may be some pictures forthcoming from a drone that we couldn't do it that day specifically because of the way the weather was, but if we get that, if it's still, so I'll share that with you.
Commissioner Waggle ended up texting me at like 12:15, he was gonna come at 1 o'clock to do that, and because of the weather, he didn't want to put the drone up.
Yeah. great thing for the town folks.
Yes.
First year, right? Maybe.
Well, our Christmas trees went well. We ordered the snow, like we do every year apparently, and, we ended up only having, 400 finishers, but we had 535 registered. There were a lot of accidents, a lot of people calling us on their way saying we can't make it, the roads are closed, we're not allowed to drive through. So we did have to deal with that, but the race went on. Our police department, Kevin was very responsive to the situation. We, spoke with him about a quarter till, and we knew we had to delay the race. It took about 22 minutes of delay to get everybody in place, get all the traffic into place because of the weather, but it went off without a hitch, and, I guess you could say it was a success. Already planned the next year.
Yeah, next year's is gonna be on July 5th.
And Christmas in July, right?
That's right.
And those of us that live on Parkview and Terra Verde, thank you for the notices that you put out, that the race is happening and what time it was on it.
Yes, I get my cross-country kids to do that for me. They count it as a workout, so. I do have one more thing for Leo. Alright, sorry, this is my last meeting. So, 4 years ago, I stepped up here to help our city improve. I was nervous sitting up here for those first few meetings, hoping I didn't make beginner mistakes, but I was eager to learn and ultimately represent the voters well. Over the course of my time up here, I voted with everyone's best interest in mind. While my vote wasn't always for the most outspoken of our citizens, I tried to represent every one of those voices that approached me and asked to be heard. We should not be here for a personal agenda, but for the process of creating a governing body that represents your wishes. As my parting words, I ask council to remember that and to continue to vote as the public asks you to. It may not be popular by all, but we each run in different social circles and see a variety of perspectives. It gives depth to our council. My dream for the city is that we continue to see the stormwater improvements, that we find a way to push our recycling waste districts into true solutions to recycle glass again, that we grow our city size without forgetting to add bike lanes, running and walking trails, well-marked crosswalks, and consistent studies of traffic patterns to relieve congestion. I hope we find a way to encourage our youth to be civic-minded by providing mentorship programs, and that we encourage the women in our community to run for elected office. Our council needs diversity in age, sex, economic backgrounds, and educational backgrounds, to name a few. This moment really is bittersweet for me. I would not have given up my seat on council after one term, but for the fact that sometimes it really does come to those chickens. When you claim to be a progressive city, you really need to be on all fronts, not just the ones that get you labeled nicest place in America. Well, the aspects that were highlighted were important to our city. To run on the world with just a few positive aspects can potentially lead us down a path filled with blinders to the desires and needs surrounding our community. Some may back down to pressure, but others will continue to forge forward. A society is one built upon a people that wanted more and better, and we exist as a country because those rebels fought for their rights and preserved them for the future. Today, each of us is the future, and it is our job to forge the way forward to the next future. Thank you to the public that has supported me and has continued to support me. As I transition to the next step in public service, I look forward to finding ways to continue preserving our community ethics and to better our citizens as a whole.
Thank you for serving.
Any other comments? I did ask the public, do you have anything for council this evening? If not, I need a motion to go into executive session regarding the discussion of pending litigation and collective bargaining matters, section 122.22, G3 and G4.
So moved.
Second.
You didn't want the final second? Good.
Oh, yeah.
Roll call.
McBain?
Yes.
Nixon?
Yes.
Bud?
Yes.